Anthony Quinn finally talks about Charles Bronson. Anthony Quinn was born Manuel Antonio Rodolfo Quinn, Oaxaca, on April 21, 1915 in Chihuahua, Mexico. Anthony Quinn's life story was all about never giving up and always changing himself to become better. The son of a Mexican father with Irish roots and a Mexican mother, Quinn had a really tough start in life. His family moved to Los Angeles when he was a kid, where being poor really shaped his early years and made him strong. Quinn did all kinds of hard jobs like boxing, shining shoes, selling newspapers, and building stuff to help his family survive. Those tough times later made his movie characters feel real, strong, and full of grit. A big moment in Quinn's life happened because he loved art, buildings, and even played music. He learned from the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright, who told him to try acting after seeing how expressive, powerful, and special he was. This advice started Quinn on the road to becoming one of Hollywood's biggest and longest-lasting stars. Quinn started acting in the 1930s, usually getting small parts or roles that played up his ethnic looks, because that's how Hollywood worked back then, with limited chances for many actors. Even with those problems, he kept working hard on his skills, determined to break out of those same type roles and show more. His big break came in the early 1950s, when his acting showed so much feeling, depth, and power that people had to notice him. His most important early win came with Viva Zapata in 1952, where he played Eufemio Zapata, the wild and volatile brother of the revolutionary Emiliano Zapata. That role won Quinn his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and made him the first Mexican-born actor to ever win an Oscar. He won a second Oscar for Lust for Life in 1956, when he gave a strong, very touching, and deeply moving performance as the painter Paul Gauguin. These awards proved he was a real serious actor with huge talent, range, and deep feelings. Anthony Quinn became a true legend with his amazing role as Alexis Zorba in Zorba the Greek in 1964. That part felt like it was made for Quinn himself, full of energy, deep thoughts, passion, and completely alive. His acting got him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and showed him to a whole new group of fans all over the world. Zorba wasn't just a character. He became a symbol of happiness, strength, resilience, and the unstoppable human spirit. Those things matched the way Quinn lived his own life with fire and joy. During his whole career, Quinn acted in more than 150 movies, working in different kinds of stories, genres, and even different languages. He played important real and religious people like Jesus Christ in La Strada, Barabbas in 1961, and Auda Abu Tayi in Lawrence of Arabia in 1962, another one of his most loved and celebrated roles. In every part, Quinn gave those characters real respect, dignity, and many layers, so they never felt like simple types. His way of showing both power and softness made people from all over the world feel connected to his characters. Besides acting, Anthony Quinn was also really good at painting, sculpting, and writing. His art was shown in galleries all around the world, showing how much he loved beauty, shapes, form, and different cultures. Quinn thought creativity wasn't just for one thing, and he went after art with the same fire, passion, and bravery he used in acting. His books, including his own life stories like The Original Sin, showed what it was like to be a man who always asked questions about who he was, what his purpose was, and what success really meant. Anthony Quinn's personal life was just as big, messy, complicated, and full of feeling as the huge characters he played in movies. His marriages and relationships happened over many years and showed both how much he loved his family and how he couldn't control his wild, jump-into-things impulsive side. Anthony Quinn married actress Catherine DeMille in 1937, and that marriage really put him inside Hollywood's top circle. Catherine was the adopted daughter of the famous director and producer Cecil B. DeMille, one of the biggest bosses in movies at that time. For the young Quinn, who grew up poor after coming from Mexico and spent years doing tiny parts and getting turned down, the marriage gave him both love and a chance to move up. Through the DeMille family, Quinn got to know important people who helped his early career. Still, he always wanted to make it because of his own talent, not just family help. During their long marriage, Anthony and Catherine had 5 children, though sadly their first child, Christopher, drowned at age 2 in a neighbor's pool. For many years, they looked like the perfect Hollywood family from the outside. Catherine worked hard to make a steady home and to support Quinn as he slowly went from small roles to big, important parts. But Quinn's inner struggles, strong personality, and huge hunger for life started to hurt the marriage. As he got more famous, people also started talking about him cheating. Later in life, he admitted that he was often unfaithful because of sudden urges, pride, ego, and wanting new feelings and excitement all the time. Those many betrayals hurt Catherine deeply and broke the trust between them. After almost 30 years together, full of shared wins and growing anger, their marriage ended in divorce in 1965, finishing a very long and difficult part of his life. In 1966, just 1 year after his first divorce, Anthony Quinn married Yolanda Adalori, an Italian costume designer who was much younger than him. Yolanda brought a European style and artist feeling into Quinn's life, and at first their relationship gave him fresh passion and a new start. Together they had 3 children, and for a while Quinn seemed ready to build another family life, working between Hollywood and Europe. Yolanda helped a lot with his everyday life and career, often taking care of the house, while Quinn kept acting, painting, writing, and traveling all over. Even though it looked calm at home, this marriage also got hurt by Quinn's problem with staying faithful. During his marriage to Yolanda, he had a long relationship with Friedel Dunbar, and they had 2 children together. That relationship happened at the same time as his marriage and later became known, causing big emotional pain and legal problems. Besides that long affair, Quinn was also rumored, and sometimes he admitted, to have had love relationships with some of the most famous actresses from Hollywood's best years, including Carole Lombard, Rita Hayworth, Ingrid Bergman, and Maureen O'Hara. Those relationships, whether short or long, helped create his picture as a charming but very imperfect romantic man, loved for his passion but also blamed for the hurt he caused. By the 1990s, after more than 30 years together, the marriage between Anthony Quinn and Yolanda Adalori was broken beyond fixing. The last big problem came with Quinn's affair with his secretary, Catherine Benvin, a relationship that again led to the birth of 2 children. The emotional pain, plus years of cheating and public shame, ended his marriage to Yolanda in 1997. The divorce was angry and all over the news, showing all the damage from years of fights that never got solved. After his second marriage ended, Anthony Quinn married Catherine Benvin, making official a relationship that had already changed his personal life a lot. Even though he was quite old by then, Quinn stayed full of energy with family life, loving being a father again and feeling proud of his kids. This last marriage showed both things that stayed the same and things that were different. It showed his never-ending need for love, companionship, and family, even while it reminded everyone of the same patterns that had been in his love life for years. For many years, Anthony Quinn got asked about lots of his famous actor friends, but he stayed very quiet whenever people talked about Charles Bronson. The 2 men were often talked about together, tough, strong actors who showed real manliness and a dangerous feeling on screen. Only when he was older did Quinn finally decide to talk openly about Bronson, sharing thoughts that weren't wild or mean, but very honest and full of respect for the real man behind the scary image. Quinn said that people often got Bronson's movie character wrong. People saw Charles as this unbreakable wall of stone, Quinn said, but that was only the armor he wore for the world. Beneath it was a man who had clawed his way up from nothing. Quinn, who also came from being poor and having a hard life, saw someone like himself in Bronson. Both men knew what it was like to be hungry, to struggle, and to always have to fight to survive. And Quinn thought this same background made Bronson's strong presence on screen feel so real. Talking about Bronson's way of acting, Quinn said no to the idea that Bronson was simple or boring. Charles didn't waste words, Quinn explained. Every movement, every silence meant something. That takes discipline. That takes intelligence. Quinn loved how Bronson could take over a scene without big talking or fancy moves, just using a quiet, strong energy that people couldn't look away from. Quinn also talked about how Bronson seemed tough and hard to get close to in Hollywood. He was guarded, Quinn admitted, and for good reason. When you come from where we came from, you don't trust easily. According to Quinn, Bronson's toughness came more from wanting to protect himself than from being proud. He learned young that showing soft spots could get used against you, and he kept that lesson his whole career. Despite their similarities, Quinn noted important differences between them. Charles was more solitary than I was, Quinn said. I thrived on chaos, on people, on noise. Charles preferred distance. He needed silence. Yet Quinn never thought this made Bronson stuck up. Instead, he saw it as Bronson's way of staying in control in a movie world that often tried to change actors into something safer and easier to sell. Maybe the strongest thing was Quinn's respect for Bronson's lasting mark. Charles became a symbol, he reflected, not just of fighting or getting even, but of the regular working man who refuses to let life break him. Quinn believed people everywhere loved Bronson because they saw the real thing in him. Someone who looked like he really lived the hard things his characters went through. In finally talking about it, Quinn made sure his words weren't trying to make Bronson seem like a superhero, but to show him as a real human. He wasn't perfect, Quinn concluded. None of us were, but he was honest in his strength, and that honesty is rare. With those words, Anthony Quinn gave a final kind tribute, one built not from rumors or competition, but from living through the same things, really understanding each other, and truly respecting another fighter who left a huge mark on movies. In the quiet last years of his life, Anthony Quinn stepped away from the bright lights of Hollywood and found peace in the small coastal town of Bristol, Rhode Island, a place whose peaceful beauty gave him rest after years of huge movie roles and endless creative energy. There, far from movie sets and cameras, he spent his last year enjoying the simple things he loved most, being private, thinking quietly, painting, sculpting, and looking at the wide, beautiful view of Narragansett Bay that went on forever toward the horizon. On June 3, 2001, Quinn passed away in Boston at the age of 86 because of breathing problems that came from complications after radiation treatment for lung cancer. His death ended an amazing life that crossed countries, cultures, and many generations of movies, leaving behind an art legacy that very few actors have ever come close to. The news brought sadness from fans all over the world who had grown to see him as a huge, powerful, passionate, and very human person, both in movies and in real life. Quinn's funeral was held at the First Baptist Church in America, sitting on College Hill in Providence, Rhode Island, a place full of history and calm respect. It was the perfect spot to remember a man whose own life felt almost like a legend, shaped by hard times, big wins, and a never-stopping love for art. Family, friends, and people who loved his work came together to say goodbye, thinking about a career that created unforgettable characters and pushed what a big movie star could be. In a very personal and sweet last wish, Quinn's wife asked the town of Bristol for permission to bury him, not in a regular graveyard, but in the place he loved most, his own backyard on his estate. The couple had bought the house in 1995, pulled in by its quiet peace and its amazing view of the bay. There, near an old maple tree that had stood over the land for a long time, Quinn had found a real feeling of home and happiness. The town leaders said yes to the request, respecting both what the family wanted and how deeply the actor loved that special place.